Hello.
Greetings and welcome to the Stuck in the Mail podcast, episode 40, Swamp Dogg, Total Destruction of Your Mind.
It's good.
Thank you much.
Swamp Dog.
Swamp Dogg, that's right. Possibly our first true foray into, pure, in this case, Southern soul. Soul being most commonly attributed to generally black artists, but not necessarily, and music sung with possibly a heavy gospel influence. I would say this is our first true foray into soul. What would you say, Mike?
Yeah, I think you're right. I have a pick coming up that might be in the soul realm, as far as I know, but I won't give that away. But yeah, what?
Certainly George Clinton comes out of that world. Kind of
Yes.
took it on another train track, took it to the next level, and we have covered oh gosh, what I mean, we've covered so many things now I can't even remember, but I know we've covered something George Clinton related, and it might have been Ruth Copeland, which close enough. I mean, that's like another world on its own. But anywho, let's get into Swamp Dogg. I like to start with your initial feelings, reactions, and just generally what you want to say, Mike. What do you want to say?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Another winner, Casey. I mean, this I can see why he is a cult figure. Um, because yes, it is in some ways conventional soul, which is always enjoyable. But it also has a bit of a eccentric edge to it. A bit of a did he just say that? Unpredictability, which you can see on the cover. I mean, the man is scantily clad with a saucepan on his head. This is going to be a little off kilter. So I think I enjoyed that about it. I enjoy the Muscle Shoals sound. I do.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
really like. I think that "I'll Take You There" by the Staple Singers is maybe the best recorded piece of
Hmm.
music that there is, and
Nice.
I can definitely sense the Muscle Shoals sound
You,
here.
you've really hit on something because it really is. Like Jerry Williams he's of that sound. Now he's not really like particularly part of the Swampers, that the Muscle Shoals group consists of. But as you can tell, even from his moniker, Swamp Dogg, this is a soul artist that has that sound and feel that the Muscle Shoals sound, which it really is also a Memphis sound, a stacked sound, a sound of black and white artists coming together just recently after the Civil Acts movement and producing music, sometimes on the underground. But our boy Swamp Dogg here, he is just a pure left field guy. But the thing is, how this music is sung, as I'm sure you can agree, is phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Phenomenal. I mean, effortless is the word I would use. You know what's so crazy about this? He's singing very high notes. You know what's crazy is he almost veers sharp. Most people, if they're singing that high, they're going to be struggling to hit the notes. There are moments where I'm wincing because I want him to keep the pitch level, and he's raising, and it's quite remarkable.
It is, and it's nice to get an actual musician's perspective on this, since I am the Brian Eno of this group, where I'm dancing around, and you're like, "Oh, not that song," and I'm like, how about this song?" So I'm not classically trained, but that is really interesting because his sound, I mean, he's up there with the great tenors. I mean, he is like a Marvin Gaye, a Stevie Wonder, an Otis Redding.
Well, and I'm sitting here thinking, how does he do this at age 82? So I watched some recent YouTubes, and he's making it happen. He's still hitting the notes, Casey.
He is, and in 2018 he released his album that I think Bon Iver produced, a modern guy, called Love Lost in Autotune, and he sings all in autotune.
Cool. I want to hear it.
He's still trying to cash in somehow because he hasn't really. I mean, he's just such a big cult figure. Sometimes they break. He had a documentary last year in 2024 called where he's he actually lives in San Fernando Valley with, well, formerly with his guitarist who passed. and another guy that goes by Moog Star, or I guess Moog Star. And it's called something about painting his swimming pool.
Uh-huh.
I
Yeah,
don't
is it?
remember the title, but something something paint Swamp Dog swimming pool, and it was a documentary.
I love it.
I mean, this so recently there's been just a whole slew of obscure but absolutely amazing artists I pick. But Swamp Dogg actually has a really weird connection with me that I'd love to share. Because as I imagine a lot of our viewers know, I began buying so many records a while ago that I started selling them as well, which for a collector, having that complete hobby is kind of something special too, because you get to see what the homes they go to and whatnot. But the very first, very big show I did in Santa Rosa, shout out Shady Oak Brewery and Radio Thrift, Jason, love you guys. The very first show, I had a young guy come up to me and he went, "Do you have any Swamp Dog?" And I said, "Nope." And this is when I was still drinking. This is 4 years ago. He was rather inebriated too, so I found it pretty funny.
Yeah.
Uh, and later that day, that same show, I was looking around, and what do I find? I find Swamp Dogg.
Wow.
I think his fifth album, and it looks strange still. I mean, all his covers, all these album covers look weird. The second one is called Rat On, and he's on a rat. But anyway, I'm going down a side trip here, but bear with me because this is important to me. So I find this Swamp Dogg record, buy it, and then later on, I actually find the guy, and he's super excited, you know. And of course, I sell it to him. I think for what I paid, maybe I charged a $5 finder's fee. Who knows? Who cares? But I didn't actually start listening to Swamp Dogg till this year, really, 2025. And it was a missed opportunity on my part.
Hmm. That's cool. And
Isn't
so,
that
and
weird?
that is cool. And so the record that you have, the Total Destruction, that's like an original, like how did you come
Yeah,
across this?
this is an original press. I don't see that's the thing. I don't remember where I came across this. Uh when I when I when I started getting into him, I was like, "Oh my gosh, this guy is amazing. I have to get his first album." And I think I probably went to record nerd places like eBay or Discogs
Okay.
and tried to find the best copy I could get for a reasonable amount, you know. But it was expensive by record standards. I think it was like $75, but I
Hmm.
mean, it's a 1970 obscure, possibly greatest cult soul artist of all time. I mean, that's what I'm gonna say.
Yeah. I mean, I could understand that. That's a claim that fits.
I mean, we don't want to get into songs yet, but these songs are more written for 2025 than they
Yeah.
are written for 1970. In 1970, they sound like what?
Yeah. There's a bit of George Clinton weirdness to it.
Oh yeah.
Can I read? I want to read this passage from
hmm
Wikipedia in his own words, Jerry Williams' own words. I just really like quotes that kind of illuminate, an artist's history. It's fairly long, so I'm just going to warn you.
That's
But
okay.
I think this was helpful for me to kind of understand where he's coming from. So here we go. He wrote, I became Swamp Dogg in 1970 in order to have an alter ego and someone to occupy the body while the search party was out looking for Jerry Williams, who was mentally missing in action due to certain pressures, maltreatments, and failure to get paid royalties on over 50 single records.
hmm
Most all of the tracks included were recorded in Muscle Shoals, Alabama, and Macon, Georgia, which brings me to how the name Swamp Dogg came about. Jerry Wexler, Atlantic Records VP, was recording in the newly discovered mecca of funk, Muscle Shoals, Alabama. He coined the term swamp music for this awesome funk predominantly played by all-white musicians accompanying the R&B institutions like Wilson Pickett, Aretha, King Curtis. I
hmm
was also using the same swamp players. I was tired of being a jukebox singing all of the hits. I couldn't dance as good as Joe Tex, wasn't pretty like Tommy Hunt, couldn't compare vocally to Jackie Wilson, and I didn't have the sex appeal of Daffy Duck. I wanted to sing about everything and anything and not be pigeonholed by the industry.
Yo.
Hang with me, this is great. So, so I came up with the name Dogg because a dog can do anything, and anything a dog does never comes as a real surprise. If he sleeps on the sofa, goes to the bathroom on the rug, chews up your slippers, humps your mother-in-law's leg, jumps on your new clothes, and licks your face, He's never gotten out of character. You understand what he did. You curse while making allowances for him, but your love for him never diminishes.
Yeah.
Recording in Alabama and sincerely singing and writing about items that interested me gave birth to the name Swamp Dogg. He's the original Dogg in his own words.
hmm And once I have read that, and it's a great segue into what I'd like to talk about next, which is that for our viewers or listeners, I imagine that a lot of people are thinking, okay, we got Swamp Dogg here. We just said D-O-double-G, the original D-O-double-G. So automatically, the current generations are thinking of today's modern day Frank Sinatra, aka Snoop Dogg. As I believe, christened by Dr. Dre. I believe. I know he produced the first album, and obviously he's on Dre's album. But do you know this? How much of that Wikipedia did you read, Mike? Because I get a feeling, I don't know this part yet, but I get a feeling that Jerry Williams, aka Swamp Dogg, is partially responsible for Snoop Dogg. And the connection, Jerry Williams was involved with Alonzo Williams of the World Class Wrecking Crew, aka the group that put out hip hop's first billionaire, as you can see here with the 399 sticker on his face. That's Dr. Dre,
Oh,
right?
wow.
So Dr. Dre is one of two DJs in Lonzo's essentially disco supergroup because hip hop on the West Coast is not hitting yet. So Alonzo Williams, possibly related to Jerry Williams, is with Dre. So this man, Jerry Williams, helped put together the World Class Wrecking Crew, which
That's
has
cool.
Dr. Dre. Dr. Dre goes on to be solo hip hop producer ultimately, and puts out Snoop. I can't help but think everyone always says, "Oh, it was Snoop's aunts and uncles," and they're like, "Oh, he looked like Snoopy." But I'm telling you, an artist released like this that could have been in the records of a lot of these people. I'm thinking there's a direct connection there. What do you think?
I think that's really smart. I mean, I did read that in the Wikipedia that he was part of the Wrecking Crew.
Mhm.
Is that the right word? Wrecking Crew.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, world class wrecking crew.
yeah. So yeah, it could be, could be. It's interesting too, because I mean, Swamp Dogg, like even from the very beginning, was kind of in the background and not getting credited for things, but he was like
Yeah.
making things happen and producing records. Like to hear him tell it, because
Mhm.
he had some like 45s and stuff as Jerry Williams, which you've got right there.
Or before that, just as this Little Richard ripoff, Little Jerry. I think this is his first or second 45.
I mean, this is a talented guy, and he has been doing it from the beginning.
This is a guy who worked in the industry and was not given justice or due for his work for probably a decade. And then in 1970, he said, forget about it. I'm going to do, like, apparently, I mean, apparently Frank Zappa and LSD had a lot to do with total destruction to your mind.
Yeah.
Uh, but when you talk about him and when you understand him, this is a real artist. And then he's just letting it go, this is a punk rock soul album, you know? He doesn't care anymore.
Yeah, there's definitely a sense of he doesn't care like what anyone thinks, which I love it. I
Yes.
love that about this. It's this lawlessness.
Yes. I mean, I get to see this guy June 28th in Healdsburg of all places. I don't see a lot of music. That's a small, intimate place. I am beyond scared and excited.
That's going to be great.
I really am. We'll get back to that, but we should get, ah, there's one more thing that's crazy besides the Swampers thing. We have to put this in here. I'm sure there's some oddity country music fans. So we mentioned Jerry here was a songwriter. He actually, one of his early songs that broke pretty hard was picked up by Johnny Paycheck and actually was his first big hit, She's All I Got, as it states right there, probably impossible to see.
That's
But
cool. Really
and
cool.
this guy had a big career, not really a songwriter per se, but yes. So I mean, Swamp Dogg himself says take away the horns from his music and take away something else I can't remember, but at its core, these songs are written to be soul or country songs, which is kind of how it works.
Sure.
They're he's a songwriter. is the point really that I want to make. And he had some success. I imagine he didn't get the best royalties off this like he should have, but I mean, She's All I Got is a great song, and it started Paycheck's career. And I had to mention that because I think that was his biggest success before he went to the Swamp Dogg.
Yeah, and a lot of these songs on the album could work as country songs, you know, like they in
Oh
different
yeah,
arrangements. The melodies are so solid and the singing is so good. I mean, it totally could have been country crossover.
it's the next Drive My Car, Tracy Chapman.
Speaking of Johnny Paycheck, side note, if you haven't watched uh, Old Violin, that recording of him
Oh
doing Old
God.
Violin, it's like the most heart-wrenching thing you'll ever see on YouTube.
See, I think Johnny Paycheck is still with us, but I'm waiting for the Swamp Dogg Johnny Paycheck thing.
Oh
Uh,
man.
Swamp Dogg has ties with John Prine, and we'll get into that. And he famously covered Sam Stone on his second album. And you can tell Prine just knows. He's like, this is his song now, you know? When you're outdone by your own song,
Yeah.
and it's the truth, man. I mean, that's how singers are. Ultimately, singers are competitive, you know? And not all great singers write their own songs, but sometimes a singer can sing a song better than the songwriter, and sometimes not. And
Yeah.
it's so amazing. You know, sometimes a song hits some person so hard they can feel it and sing it and emote it better than the songwriter.
Yep. Yeah.
And
Well,
it's
tell me about Total Destruction here. Look, what songs are we going to highlight?
we're gonna start at the beginning, and I think I'm gonna quote it. Sitting on a cornflake, riding on a roller skate. That is how this album starts. And what does that lyric remind you of?
The Beatles.
It's the Beatles. And which Beatles album?
Oh boy. Oh, Walrus. It's the Walrus.
It's I Am the Walrus off Magical Mystery Tour. So right here, the very opening of this, Swamp Dogg is going, you know, he's saying this is where we're going. I am the
Uh-huh.
walrus.
Yeah, this is a little left field what you're about to experience.
He's
Um,
trying he's trying to warn you, I think.
Sitting on a cornflake, riding on a roller skate. Too late to hesitate or even meditate. Always looking up, what's down. They've come to get me from the lost and found. But believe me, I'm feeling fine. To the world I told some wine. And then I do total destruction to your mind, mind. Total destruction to your mind, yeah. Total destruction to your mind.
so I'm just to me, the Total Destruction song sounds like something Beck would have done in the late 90s. Like just picture the song and then picture Beck's voice singing it. I can absolutely picture this. Like I
I
don't know
mean,
what that means. I just think it strikes a certain absurdity that Beck was into with that like upbeat soul
oh
man
yeah.
thing.
I mean, Beck did it all, but I can tell you this, Beck knew about Swamp Dogg. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
This guy's been on a lot of people's radars for a really long time, and somehow it just took forever for me. And now he's on your radar. And I mean, the name just belongs with the greats, you know. We got to get back to the album here, though.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we've started the album with this the opening lyrics of "Total Destruction to Your Mind," which has to be the most absurd title for a soul album as well. Uh,
It kind of reminds me of like Dr. John, his whole thing about how he had this absurd side project and alter ego and all that, and it was like right around the same time. I guess there's
yeah.
something in the air.
No, and again, what is Mac Rebnack doing? Dr. John, what is he doing? He's basically using the studio.
Right.
And we were saying that Swamp Dogg is a guy who's not getting his proper due in the studio. Somewhat like an Isaac Hayes, who also was doing all songwriting. Finally, like, I could be making this direct. I want to make my albums. You use all the same musicians that you've been using to make someone else's album. I mean, this goes back to the hot dogs episode because they are stacks. And I've been watching the Soulsville on HBO Max, and it is eye-opening. And Terry Manning is in it. But anywho, those are for our hardcore fans. And
Well,
anyone who loved the hot dogs episode, I'm looking at you, all the records.
listen, that Hot Dogs album only
So
gets better. It's like it's insane. I think it's in my top 50 now.
it's so unbelievably good. Just like this album. This
Yeah.
is going to be the top album picks. Like, it's going to be, I mean, imagine this. Imagine if Swamp Dogg went in the studio into Memphis and played with the hot dogs. I mean,
Parallel universe.
that's what I want to see.
Yeah.
Okay, no more talk about total destruction in your mind. Obviously, it's ruined both of our minds. It's an absolutely amazing song. But for me, Synthetic World, which by the way was a single, not Total Destruction for Your Mind, that's just the opener. Synthetic World, which possibly is the one that feels the most like it was written this year.
Yeah.
It's basically, kind of cursing the what will become known as the digital world, but at that time it didn't exist.
Sure.
Uh, and it's just this rich gospel, heavy, beautiful tenor vocals by Swamp Dogg.
So
And
catchy too.
Houses are paper, but folks don't hear a word you say. Friendships like acid, it burns as it slides away. So you see, my patience is growing thin. With this synthetic world we're living in. The word imitation will leave us cross the
it's a
nation.
song that I'm sure, a couple hit DJs need to get to and just throw it out on the air the next 4 years, I'm working on that playlist now. It goes Prismatics, Don't Invite Us to the Depression, Swamp Dogg, Synthetic World.
Yeah, Synthetic World is a standout. It's an incredible recording. It sounds amazing. His voice is amazing. The message is crystal clear, is just cutting through. And yeah, again, 1970, talking about a synthetic world. That's wild, man. That is wild.
It is. And all that's really happening then is like, I don't know, recording is changing a little bit, DAT is coming in or something that doesn't feel like a technological advance. But I think, as you know, that's how technology works, Wright's law. It becomes, I'm not gonna explain Wright's law, but look it up. It hits an exponential point and then it just goes, And
Yeah.
we right now, no matter what we say, are literally living in the digital world. I get to talk to my friend Mike and we do a podcast. It's not in reality. This
Uh-huh.
is the digital world. We are living in the digital world right now. So
Yep.
hopefully you get to experience some analog world today as well. I like
Yeah.
both equally.
Yeah, it is important to keep an analog part of your life. That's for sure.
It
Swamp Dog
is.
told you.
The Swamp Dog knows. I'm gonna let you pick the next song.
Oh man.
They're all good. I mean, even we could stay on side one because
Well, I do have one song that I want to highlight that I'm just gonna put it out there. This is Mike's hot take. This is the best song on the album. It's one of the best songs I've heard by anybody in recent memory. Can you guess what it is?
I'm gonna guess it was I Was Born Blue.
No, I like that
No.
one. For me, Casey, it is all about the world beyond.
I dreamed that I was living in the world beyond, and I was born after they dropped the bomb. I dreamed that I was sitting on my father's knee, and he told me of the world that used to be. Tell me
I dreamed that I was living in the world beyond, and I was born after they dropped the bomb. I dreamed that I was sitting on my father's knee, and he told me of the world that used to be. Okay,
Yep.
this
Unbelievable.
this is incredible, and it first when you first hear it, it almost comes across as like a novelty thing, like a almost jokey a little bit. But this to me sounds. You're talking about Parliament and George Clinton. This sounds like something off of Osmium.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Yes. Yes, it does.
it is this brilliant twist on, What a Wonderful World, Louis Armstrong,
Mm-hmm.
because it's post-apocalyptic. It's after the bomb, and it is this really powerful take on loving the world that you're in and being alive and being analog and realizing that that could all be taken away. And it hits me in a really deep way because of the perspective of looking back on life after the bomb. It's like it's like
Yeah.
thinking about mortality and then thinking about life. And then you're like, you're looking back on the world that used to be, and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm in it. There's grass and there's trees
Mm-hmm.
and there's
Gotta touch
TV and
some
all these.
grass.
It's just, this one hit me the very first time I heard it and is
Oh yeah.
absolutely my favorite song on the album.
His voice too, because in this one, there's a lot, where he's kind of got the Percy Sledge going on a little bit. That's the guy that did If a Man Loves a Woman. Really beautiful. I compare those two the most, I think, in my head. Um, and maybe Marvin Gaye to a degree. But yeah, this song, The World Beyond, the way he's singing here is really beautiful. His tone is
Yeah.
tenebrae or whatever. Try to give me a singing word here.
It's just, you can,
It's beautiful.
you can tell when it's an authentic vocal performance. You know what I mean?
Oh,
And
man.
I hope he sings this at your concert.
Oh,
I wish I could be a fly on the wall.
oh man. So this show too that I'm going to is small, like I said, in Healdsburg, but apparently he was supposed to play here a year ago. And this is also like a rain cancellation, like a makeup show. So it's even got more like energy behind it because a lot of people have been waiting over a year.
Yeah.
So I don't know how I got tickets. I went on this app, but Healdsburg, sure, let's do it. I'm
Well,
46. Perfect.
that's going to be great. This is my pick. This is Mike's pick, The World
Uh,
Beyond.
I think you honestly, okay, I already said Synthetic World is my pick, and there's so many winners on here. But since I mentioned it as my guess for yours, I'm gonna go with If I Was Born. I'm sorry, I Was Born Blue, which is this amazing song that lyrically tackles and addresses the issues of racism by being like, he's born blue, everyone else is green with yellow hair. And it's tackling it almost from like, I mean, someone smart could use this and make it into like a kid's song, even, because it
Yeah.
has that Dr. Seuss play of like, putting a really serious message, but relaying it as a almost like a parable, like just a kid's story, something simple that anyone can understand.
Yep.
And I mean, the song is just gut-wrenching,
Yeah. It's
because he's singing his heart out about being born blue.
yeah.
And I mean, it just hits it in his own manner that Swamp Dogg is going for here. His sitting on a cornflake.
Another day has passed me by, and it's not because I did not try. Why wasn't I born with orange skin and green hair like the rest of the people in the world? I was born blue. I was born blue.
Yeah, it's so eccentric and original, and it's got that edge that you could sing a song about racism and being on the other side, and it would be powerful. But for some reason, when it's in this kind of, like you said, almost Dr. Seuss language, it it you experience it in a different way.
Oh, totally. I mean, it's I can't believe that I own this album. I'm over here staring at it. I'm like, look at this back cover. This is very like funkadelic and Parliament, like, in the 70s would really give rise to black exploitation films,
Sure.
you know, portraying black people as superheroes and all this stuff that was really, really positive till it was kind of, driven down later in the 70s. But I mean, this was a time of, you know, it was a really good era. Um, and I highly recommend that Stacks HBO Max special. It's only 4 episodes, but it's brilliant. There's no Swamp Dogg. I want there to be Swamp Dogg. I'm definitely watching Painting Swamp Dogg's Pool or whatever it's called. It looks fantastic. I've seen the trailer. But I mean, we could talk about Swamp Dogg here probably all day. But in my mind, I feel like we've done it good justice. 10 out of 10 to say the least. Mike, do you agree?
I agree. This is fantastic.
I've brought us the Beck Soul album somehow released 25 years before Beck.
Yeah, I mean, this is what Beck was attempting to replicate, essentially.
Yeah, I mean he is attempting a lot of things and succeeding on a lot of those. And gosh, I mean Beck's a good singer too, but he's no Swamp Dogg.
Yeah. That's what takes it over the top, the performances.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is a great find. That's pretty cool to hear about how you had that album in your hands and there was that guy that you got it for. That's a cool coming full circle a
Sometimes
little
some of the
bit.
greats slip through your fingers.
Yeah, sometimes literally.
Yep, literally.
Cool. Well, you ready to move on to my next pick?
I think so. I do.
All right. Well, and we will have to do a little recap once you've had the show and just kind of check back in because I want to hear. Uh, but yeah, I'm going to call an audible. I had something in mind, but now that you mentioned something in this episode, I'm going to do something with a little connection. So, I don't know if you know this band. I kind of think that you don't, which is exciting, but they're one of the few bands that I was paying attention to when my kids were young. Because when your kids are young, you're completely focused on that. There's this whole decade of music that I missed, essentially.
Right. Yeah. Me too. But
There's various reasons why these things happen. For me, it was because I was a dad and I had little kids. So, but there was one band that is so startlingly original and interesting and lush textures and I don't know, just evocative soundscapes just really grabbed me and I still love them. And I just went back and listened to this album because I knew I wanted to do it eventually. And I think now's the time because that artist is Bon Iver.
mentioned in this episode.
Yeah, I think it's cosmic. We got to do it. Bon
Okay.
Iver self-titled. I'm going to go with self-titled.
Okay.
Their first album is very good too. It's a lot more raw and underproduced, whereas this one from 2011 is a bit very lush. Lush is the word I would use, and has my favorite Bon Iver song on it, so I've got to go with it. But
Cool.
yeah,
I
what do
like it.
you know Bon Iver at all?
Uh, I know of them. I'm probably going to know some songs. I like that you picked self-titled. If I like it, I'll probably pick it up if I can find it or, order it online.
Yeah, well, it's one of my favorites. Like I say, I got to bring it
Cool.
back
I
into
love
the
it.
I got to bring it into the 2000s. I feel like I just this is a sign we had to jump back. So
It's not that stamp clap kind of music that came out around then, is it? Like Mumford and Sons stuff?
no, I would. It is not that.
That slow stomp clap? What was going on there? Those other
Yeah,
ones with no drummers in the band?
yeah, I know what you're saying, but this is not that.
Okay. 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 All right. Sweet. Hey, Swamp Dog. Listen to it every day, kids. It's good for you.
Yep, and appreciate the analog moments in your life. I'm gonna
It's
try to.
true. Appreciate the good digital ones too.
Exactly. Well said.
Looking at you, Mike. Looking at you.
All right. See y'all later.